Hi, we're the team number 3 and we are going to explain about the general contamination and the water contamination. And we're going to discuss some of the relevant points that conform this topic. Now my friend Albert is going to tell us the introduction about this topic.
Through history, the human being has a strong impact on nature. For a long time, it has been considered the negative effect that the human being has on the environment. It is to a certain extent inevitable in order to obtain in return the natural resources that they need to subsist to enjoy the benefits of development and progress. The human The impact of human beings on the nature also depends on their customs in regard to the production and consumption of food as well as the use of energy. Water and other raw materials, societies with different consumption patterns produce different types of intensities of environmental deterioration. For example, agricultural technologies based on the use of pesticides have much harmful effect on the environment than technologies associated with organic agriculture, as many pesticides accumulate in the water and soil, seriously contaminating them and rendering them unusable, in addition to constituting a threat to health.
Pollution. Pollution is the contamination of the environment that constitutes one of the most critical problems in the world, and that is why we need to become aware of the search for alternatives of recollecting resources. They can be classified depending on whether they are released in the environment, in a gaseous state, which is pollution of atmosphere, in a liquid state, which is water pollution, or in a solid state, which is soil pollution.
In this work, we'll delve into just one of these three problems, which perhaps the most important and essential to solve of all, water pollution. We will cover more specify what it is and what it covers, which implies the alteration of this resource, so valuable and essential from the permanence of life itself. The cause that cause the high-risk phenomenon, how we are involved in this problem, the consequence that this alarming situation brings to both today and in the future far away. And above all, we will talk about how to prevent it, at least to a lesser extent, enough to ensure to prosperity of our life, as we know it, and that all living things and the environment in which we live.
Water pollution consists of all that modification of this liquid, modification which makes it improper or dangerous for consumption, causing that the consumption of this liquid to be risky for animals and plants, also affecting directly to the human being.
My name is Andres and I'm talking about the pollutants. Some of the most common water pollutants are garbage, chemical wastes from factories and industries, sewage, pathogens from the breakdown of organic waste, etc. Marine debris is mostly plastic waste that pollutes the ocean and the coastlines, sometimes accumulating in the high seas and in the Great North Pacific garbage patch. Many water pollutants dissolve in water, while others float or settle, making them relatively easier to move. Development and industrialization entail a greater use of water, a large generation of waste, much of which ends up in the water, and the use of river and maritime transport means that on many occasions are the cause of water contamination by your oil or fuel. The presence of pollution generates what are called forced ecosystems, that is, ecosystems altered by external agents. Deviated from the previous equilibrium situation forced to modify their function to minimize the tension to which they are subjected. Thank you.
Are like garbage, chemical waste from factories and industries, the sewage and other that requires oxygen, the pathogens just as bacteria, viruses, protozoa, parasites that comes from organic waste. The chemical products including pesticides, various industrial chemical substances, contains detergents and decomposition and make the water lose their qualities, and the oil, especially from accidentals of the discharge, the inorganic minerals and chemical compounds, the sediments that made up of oil, of soil particles and minerals, radioactive substances such as the uranium, the discharge of sewage, dumping of rubbish and detergents in the water, dumping of mining things.
I'm telling you the consequences of water pollution. The water that the nature provides us in its different forms does not have the requirements to be consumed directly by human beings due to the contamination it contains. To achieve the satisfactory water quality that we need and for it to be drinkable, distillation of other purification processes are carried out. Thank you.
Next, I'm about to talk about the types of water contaminants. Water contaminants can be classified in different ways, and widely used possibility is to group them into the following 8 groups. There are pathogenic microorganisms, organic waste, inorganic chemicals, inorganic plant nutrients, inorganic compounds, sediments and suspended materials, and the radioactive substances.
And at the last one, we have the proposal that we have a homemade filter that in basically it's clean. So its basically function is clean the water. This filter consists about a bottle of plastic bottle, carbon and granite. And this filter, homemade, is so adjustable to the families to clean their own water in a form that it doesn't require so much money.
As a conclusion, we can say that although it is true that 70% of the surface of the planet Earth is covered by water, only 2.5% of this is fresh water and capable of being consumed by us and many other species of living organisms that populate the Earth. And the most of this relatively small percentage is frozen. So this implies that the availability of fresh water suitable for human consumption and for all activities that cover our supervivience is very small, is reduced. And if we add to this that a large part of the small percentage is being exponentially contaminated by human work, we can understand and visualize the seriousness of this situation and the critical point that we are searching. Find sustainable solutions, ways in which we can collect and extract the necessary resources to cover and satisfy our needs as a species, but at the same time implementing programs and measures that allow the regeneration of these resources so that the following generations can enjoy the resources and the wonders that the planet affords.